Hello, this TBR is going to have way more books on it than I could possibly read in 1 month. Hi, I'm Colleen Delaney. On this channel, we talk about books and writing. As always, in the description, there will be links to my newsletter if you want more bookish goodness from me, and to my release, Finding His Mate, which is a spicy paranormal romance. Book 2 will have an announcement very soon, and if you want that announcement faster than you'll get on YouTube, sign up for my newsletter and I'll send you buy links very, very soon. It's that time of year. Summer is ending, and if you have been watching my channel for longer than a week, you know that summer is my most favorite time of the year for reading. So I do put a ton of books on my August TBR, and I sort of call this more like my end of summer TBR because I do count summer as going through Labor Day weekend in the United States, which I don't know exactly when Labor Day weekend is. It's always the first weekend in September. And I kind of count that first weekend of September as summer still. So I put a lot of books on here. I also do really like to try to read 1 or 2 books during Labor Day weekend. But last year I had that plan, and then I got COVID for the first time. Yeah, and so I felt awful and did not do that. So I don't want to jinx myself. But maybe this year I'll get to read 1 book that weekend. This list has a lot of romance on it, some fantasy, and then a little bit of other genres I read, but that's just kind of what I'm in the mood for, so that's why I've got a lot on it. And let's just get started because this is going to probably be kind of long. The first book is an arc, and it's by Sophie Jordan. It's The Duke Starts a Scandal. There's a lovely picture of it. This is the last book in the Duke Hunt series. I have purposefully not read any descriptors about it because I love this series so much. I'm sad it's ending, but like the last 2 books in the series, The Rake Gets Ravished and The Scoundrel Falls Hard, have been on my best books of the year list. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I can't wait to start it. I'm going to start it really soon. Next up, I have a book I bought last year and never read, and it's Small Town Big Magic by Hazel Beck. This is like a witchy romantic comedy about a woman who lives in a town where she doesn't know there's any magic, but then it turns out that she just wasn't magical, so she can't see any of it. And it's got like a friends to lovers thing, I believe, in it. Oh no, it's not friends to lovers. I'm sorry. It's childhood friend to lovers, which is a different trope. And I bought this last October, and then I just wasn't like in the mood for it. And I'm kind of already starting to feel some like witchy fall vibes. Like I want to already be in that world. So I thought this might be a fun thing to kick off my August with. I think it got pretty good reviews last year. I don't remember anyone saying it was terrible. So yeah, apparently I read to page 12 last year and I don't remember that. I'm going to start over. The other book I want to talk about, I have, but I think I left it in my car because all of a sudden I looked, it wasn't in my pile, and I did put it in my purse, and it's not in my purse, so I think it's in my car. It's The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This is one of the books that I bought during my No by July that I broke 2 times, but this is one of them. And I read like the first 30-ish pages of this yesterday when I was waiting for an appointment, and so that's why it's in my car. But it's about a woman who moves into like a magical apartment, and there's like a time slip. So I just got to the part in which she's met the person who lives there 7 years previously, who's like subletting the apartment for the summer. It seems fun. I'm not a big like rom-com reader. I'm just not. I'm a historical romance, paranormal romance, or like I like an angsty contemporary. But so far I am enjoying this book, and I'll let you know what I think. Next, I have another arc. It is called Striking Gold by Janine M. Nesta. Here is the cover, and this is exciting because Janine and I are writer friends, so I'm really excited to read her arc. This is a contemporary romance about a woman, Mia, who has like a big explosion in her life. You know, like everything falls apart. She goes back to her hometown to live with her dad. She tries to get a job at a jewelry shop, and the guy is really rude to her, so then she becomes a barista. It's also about Ross, who is her high school friend who owns that jewelry shop, and she did not recognize him when she walked in, and he was kind of annoyed, and that's why I didn't give her the job. And I'm really looking forward to this because I have not gotten to beta read this, so this is my first read and I can't wait. So next I have this one in my hand. This is book 3 in the Highlander series, whatever it's called, by Lindsay Sands, but book 2 is arriving tomorrow, and I read the first book in July which was called An English Bride in Scotland. And the second one is called To Marry a Scottish Laird. And this one is The Highlander Takes a Bride. And I'm going to read book 2, maybe book 3. I don't know. We'll see. These were fun. These were bonkers. I listened to a podcast about this one, which seemed insane when I listened to it years ago. Like Heaving Bosoms was the podcast, and they did an episode on this years ago. And I was thinking, I'm going to read this and then I'm going to re-listen to the podcast because I remember it was like crazy, but like in a fun, bonkers way. So they're medieval romance historicals that are crazy. Another book I bought on my book buying ban was Legends and Lattes. Finally! By Travis Baldree. I was at a bookstore I used to work at, breaking my book buying ban because I just needed a little serotonin. And people who work there were talking about this. And I was like, I've been like thinking about reading this for months. I don't remember exactly when everyone started talking about it. Was that a year ago yet? It might have been. But I'm like, do you have it? And then they said yes. And then we talked for a long time. And I was like, you know what? I kind of want to read what they call this, a high fantasy with low stakes. That sounds nice. So this is one of my fantasy reads that I am looking forward to. I'm not going to read a lot of spoilers. I know it's about an orc who opens a cafe. And that's the only spoiler I'm going to read. Sorry, the sun glare is getting bad. The sun moved in the sky. Next, I'm very excited for this. Carol Goodman has a new book out. I love Carol Goodman so much. This is the bones of the story. It's got those dark academia vibes. We've got a bunch of alumni going back to their university, and when they were there, I believe it's that a student disappeared and a professor died, and some of the same things start happening. Again, I don't like to read a ton about what these books are about because I like to just go into them, but I'm going to read this very soon. I love Carol Goodman. Her mysteries are fantastic. She's such a good dark academia writer. She should get more credit for that. All you people that love dark academia, you should read Carol Goodman's novels. They're very good. They've got all those academic vibes you want, plus murder. Last month for Book of the Month, as an add-on, I got Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I really enjoyed both J.G. Jones and the Six and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Also, kind of a weird thing is I always feel like I read the synopsis to Taylor Jenkins Reid's books, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to love that. And then I do. So this is one that I was like, I don't know if I'm going to love that. Malibu, August 1983. Spoiler alert, that's the year I was born, and I tend to not be that into the 80s, probably because of that. It's the day of Nina Riva's annual end of summer party, and then we just go from there. It's going to be Malibu. It's going to be summer. I feel like I should probably try and read it before summer's over because of that. But yeah, I mean, this might actually be a good Labor Day weekend book now that I think about it. Maybe I'll save it for Labor Day weekend. If you think I should save this for Labor Day weekend to read it in like a fever pitch as fast as I can, please put that in the comments. Sticking with Book of the Month. Okay. Clytemnestra. I've been on page 104 for months, and I really, really hate DNFing Book of the Month picks, especially if you watched my July wrap up. I got this book in May, and I also got The Last Word and The Last Tale of the Flower Bride in May, and I didn't love either of them, and I'm not liking this book, and I don't know why. On paper, it seems like a book I would love, but since I hate DNFing Book of the Month picks, here's my plan. In August, I am going to force myself, which sounds terrible, to read 50 more pages. And then I'm going to make a new plan. I'm going to decide whether or not I'm going to continue every month to force myself to read like 50-ish pages until I'm done with the book, or I'm going to decide if I want to put it down and officially DNF it. I've only ever officially DNF'd one other Book of the Month book, and I don't want to add another one. But I also really think that it's not cool to like torture yourself, not torture yourself, but like read stuff you don't like. Like, I'm 40 years old. I don't have to read it for school. I can just put it down. So I'm going to give it 50 more pages. And then I'm going to reevaluate whether or not I want to give it another 50 pages or whether or not I want to just set it down. And maybe I'll find someone who I can give it to who would love it, because it's just not speaking to me. It's a Greek mythology retelling from the point of view of Clytemnestra, and it's, in my opinion, mostly about how terrible it is to be a woman in ancient Greece at this moment. But I know a lot of people have really loved this book. It has really high ratings on Goodreads. A lot of reviews are just talk about how much they love it. So we'll see. I also was kind of worried that I read it too close to reading Atalanta. So maybe now that I've given it some time, because I read Atalanta, I think, in May. maybe now is the time to actually pick it up and read more of it. And obviously I'm not going to stop reading after 50 pages. If I'm enjoying it, then I'll continue. Lastly, let's talk about the Book of the Month books I ordered, which should be arriving at my house anytime in the next 15 minutes, because that's usually when a mail person comes, but I didn't want to wait. I got None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell, which I talked about in my predictions. I was really proud of myself because I got that one correct. And it is about, got a podcast theme again, which is kind of weird because the last Book of the Month thriller I read also had sort of a podcast theme. So maybe true crime podcasters are going to be the new, amateur detectives in thrillers, but I'm really looking forward to this one. I've also never read a Lisa Jewell book before. And I think I'm kind of for a while I was obsessed with thrillers, and now I feel like I'm kind of even keeled towards thrillers. I've had a couple thrillers that I didn't like as much lately, but I think that this is a good one to try. And if I do like it, Lisa Jewell has a ton of backlist stuff I can get from Book of the Month because she's a Book of the Month darling. And then I did get The Invisible Hour by Alice Hoffman as an add-on because I adore her. And I especially adore her shorter fiction, and this one's only 200 and some pages, which is my sweet spot for an Alice Hoffman, so I can't wait to read that one. It's got a beautiful cover to get me ready for fall. I'm also currently reading Fire in the Smokies by Becca Jameson. It's book 2 in her Durham Wolf Shifter series. Hold on one second. I'm almost done! Which is about werewolves living in the Smoky Mountains finding their mates, and I'm liking it a lot so far. I'm about 50% done, and it's very fun. I'm so sorry if you can hear my kids talking downstairs. They're being really loud all of a sudden, which is my cue to wrap this up because that's my entire TBR. So thank you for listening to this very long TBR. I'm going to read half of these books probably, hopefully, because I need to be a good writer in September and in August because I have a book coming out in September, fingers crossed. And if there was anything on this list you're super excited about, please tell me in the comments. If you don't want to write any words in the comments, but want to let me know that you made it this far in the video, drop me a sunflower emoji because that always makes me think of August. I have some sunflowers in my yard right now. They're not doing so well. My neighbors are amazing and 7 feet tall, and mine are just 3 feet tall and look half dead, and I don't know what I did wrong. I need to ask her what her secrets are. Her secrets are probably not having 4 small children. As always, I hope you're in the middle of a good book, about to start reading a good book, or about to start writing a great book. I'll see you soon. I just have to add that I finally just turned off my camera, leaned to the door and said, "What's wrong?" to my daughter who's been yelling for me. And she said, "Your Book of the Month is here." So my Book of the Month has arrived. I have to go open my package. I'll see you soon.